Hello, welcome pen friends. I am recording this video on April 30th, 2023, and I wanted to be a channel update at the beginning and then a kind of a personal update the rest of the video. And it could get very chatty because there's a couple subjects I just really want to talk about. So you'll be able to depart whenever you want to, and I totally understand if chatty videos are not your thing. But I would normally be coming to you with a Chris's Inked Pens video right about today or tomorrow is going to be May 1st. But I'm not having any Chris's Inked Pens this month. It's going to be a total change over for me. I have still a few pens that are inked up that I'm going to be cleaning prior to my trip. But it's not that I'm not going to write with fountain pens at all during May, but I'm not going to ink any new ones, so there won't be that kind of video this time. And in fact, the part that I'm dancing around trying not to say, I guess, is that I'm going to take a break from YouTube from making videos for about 3 weeks. So after my trip to Vermont, I'll be back. And most likely, knowing me, I'll be back with a lot of stuff because that's how my creativity tends to work. And the summer, I'm really at my pen desk a lot. And I've got tons of ideas. In fact, we've already had the vote. And the next student pen is going to be the Faber-Castell Grip that I'll be doing the report on. But I decided I really needed a full week leading up to my trip to help Manuel get ready to do the lawn and stock in all of the cat stuff and give him the best chance of being here, by himself for a little while with everything kind of set and prepared when I leave. Normally it's not a thing, but there's so much going on this time, and he's feeling better, but we want to keep it that way. So, okay, so be taking most of May off, and that's the main thing. Just to give you a heads up, I debated and I started thinking, why, Chris? But it feels right because it's not really any kind of an off, it's not like I'm going to get on the couch and not do anything. I've got a lot to do. In fact, I'm trying to catch up pen pal letters too before I leave. And I'm cleaning 3 or 4 pens a day. So I've gathered all the pens. It's like, come to me pens, because I had a lot of fountain pens even inked up and put into that big Monteverde case that's for the student pen project. And oh my goodness, I don't really want to leave pens laying around, even for, the short time that I'll be gone. So that is, and one more thing, it's not exactly a channel update, but Matt, who does the website Ink Swatch, the wonderful comparison ink website, he is creating some new features, and I'm just wanting to let you know because soon I'll be able to talk about it more and show you and talk about it. But I'm excited because I got to get on the beta or the test site that isn't ready for regular traffic yet and try it out. And I myself found it very helpful and interesting. So I'm not sure if I can even use the main word that kind of is the hint, but definitely it's going to help with our searches and create ways for us to find things differently. So that's all I'll say for now. And we'll see how we can bring you the information about what you can do, because I'm still discovering it. I still have my link and can go in and check. And I'd love to say what it is, the one main thing, but I think we need to keep it for now until we release it, until he's finished, because there's a lot more to that than I'll ever know. But I'm really grateful for it, and it seems like it's going to enhance the website so much, which it's already a great place to go to look for comparing inks, and you can find other people's reviews and blog posts, and it's already so awesome. So I wanted to mention that. So I guess this is where the chatty personal update begins. So anybody who doesn't want to hear me go on about just life in general, I guess you might want to exit now, because oh my goodness, I'm afraid it's going to turn into a long rant. But at the same time, I'm excited because I don't know where to begin. And even though I wrote these points down, that's silly. Okay, Okay, so, well, and this is pen related. So it's personal, but it's also pen related. I guess we'll just start with this because that's what I wrote down first. There must have been a reason for it. I'm taking a break from buying pens and hobby related things too. And I can honestly say that my last purchase was April 12. And the first few days of that was very interesting because I was thinking about it this morning. I thought, well, of course you're taking a break. You're going on a vacation. So, or, well, the vacation is an odd word because it's not what I think of as a vacation. It's to go and see my family, you know. It's the only way I'm going to get to see them, at least during this time. When they're working and going to school and everything like that. So I totally lost my train of thought. And this is me with no caffeine, so this is wonderful. That's the next subject, so I'm not going to hop around too much, but I already did it. So anyway, I found that in recent times, I would purchase because I could. Like, you know, I had the money, but I'm no longer satisfied with that as a reason for buying a fountain pen or an ink. It's just, I'm a little overwhelmed with what I already have. And so I don't want to ever take the joy out of the hobby. So that's my goal always, is not, you know, of course, I saw the Jinhao 80s and that was last year and had to have a couple in different colors and experiment with them and put the Lamy nibs on them. And then it happened again with the Jinhao 82s. And I found myself finding more colors of those, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, you know. It just doesn't continue to make sense to grow the collection and get more. And there will always be an exception to that going forward. Could never say, oh, I'm just going to never buy another fountain pen. But I read this book. I might as well say, I read this book called Dopamine Nation. And it's a book about addiction, but it doesn't cover just the things like alcohol and drugs that we first think of. And it doesn't just cover screens and, you know, overusing our cell phones. It's quite a book. And I ended up, the best part of the book for me, and I haven't done a review on the book yet because it wasn't the whole book that I was so excited about. It was her program, and I put it in my bullet journal. There's a word for each, you know, I know there's something that you call that, but she took, you know, the word dopamine, and then she gave us a process that you can go through. That's first D is for data, and you explore what you're doing, how much and how often. Well, let me just tell you, I'm not real comfortable with listing all that I've spent on fountain pens, inks, and hobby-related supplies. But it is interesting when I look back, even over just the Amazon history. One time, way back, when I was really in probably a stronger position of not spending, and probably had more reason not to spend, I actually added up all my Goulet purchases, and that stopped me for a long time, let me tell you. It was like, oh, I could have had a V8, you know, I could have had something else. Anyway, that's being a little silly, but it is something that we want to always stop, I think, and look at what we're doing. And then always for objectives. And the question there is, what does it do for you? How does it help? And, you know, I think up to a certain point, and also even sort of, you know, sparingly going through time, it's always nice to acquire a new, whatever it is you collect, you know, whether, no matter, whether it's a coin, if you're collecting coins. I used to collect coins. Anyway, that's the question. And then P is for problems, where you kind of look at the downsides and you look at unintended consequences. And so the whole first part of me exploring this information, which I'm just really fascinated and always have been heavily into studying addiction and understanding it, because I kind of knew at a young age that I hadn't better touch certain things. I'll leave it at that. I just knew, but I didn't know why. And ever since going to college, I took marketing classes and psychology. after I got my associate's degree, I started to work toward a bachelor's degree in Oklahoma when I was in the Air Force. And I studied psychology, and it was finally confirmed to me that, yes, you probably know if you have, the tendency to overdo on things. So, so problems and downsides. I was studying my pen buying. I thought, that might be my primary issue that I need to work on. Well, it didn't turn out that way. But that's the next subject. So then A is for abstinence, and she just recommends a 30-day experiment to stop, whether it's a behavior of like buying pens or buying whatever it is as a behavior. And there's lots of other behaviors, like streaming Netflix till midnight or whatever. She recommends that you restore balance by taking 30 days off from that thing. That's something, isn't it? When even just thinking about, this month I'm not going to buy a pen at all, for a whole 30 days at least, and probably will renew that for a while with maybe a rare exception. And along comes a new TWSBI color. Seriously, that's seriously real. There's a purple mini, but that's okay because I don't have to have it. I don't. Actually, I was thinking about that last night when I was trying to fall asleep. I thought, that purple mini calls to me, even though I don't even use the clear mini that I have. It isn't my favorite pen. It's not the one I reach for. It used to be, but it would be a pen now that I could let go of even, and I wouldn't miss it. So it's psychologically speaking, it's very interesting to study yourself. Okay, so M is for mindfulness. Observe with non-judgment. Stop running from painful emotions. Yeah, in other words, just take a look, but remember to use non-judgment. And then insight, she asks, how did it go? After the 30-day abstinence, what is clear? Well, it doesn't take 30 days. If you're journaling, you can journal how you feel about things or what temptations may have come up, or, in the case of the next subject, which is caffeine, it didn't take, 5 hours for me to have insight. So, and then N is for next steps. So she suggests you have a goal or a plan for going forward. And that's really important. That's going to come up again when I talk about caffeine. So this is why I said not everybody's going to want to still be here in this video. And I understand that totally. And then lastly, the E is for experiment. So you go ahead and abstain still from whatever it is that you gave up, or you turn to moderation, or you carry out your plans. And you can then put in controls, she says, self-binding, which I had never heard that term before, but I think I don't know what I used to call it, where I would do things like purposely not have certain things at home, for sweets or whatever, but then if we were out at a restaurant and I was going to split a dessert with someone, that was a whole different game than having tons of that kind of stuff at home easily accessible. That, back in those days. Okay, so anyway, that was what I took from that book. But then as I was settling into the kind of no-brainer, no-buy for me for the next month, I realized, I got a bigger issue. And that is that I was starting to think about, why am I so anxious and jittery? And gee whiz, I haven't always drank coffee. I haven't. I used to drink Diet Coke, and I thought I was doing a great thing to transfer myself to coffee. And I know how that must sound to some of you, but I thought it was more natural and it wasn't going to, be harmful, like the chemicals in Diet Coke are no good for me and blah, blah. And I'll just drink coffee instead. And last year, after a funeral, Manuel and I both got sick. And there were 3 days where there was no way I was touching coffee. There was no way I was touching hardly anything. It was just survival. And then I realized, I've gone 3 days without coffee, and let's keep this up for a whole month. It was on the heels of hearing one of my other favorite YouTubers say that he had gone 30 days without drinking coffee just to see if he could, to kind of check his dependence on caffeine. And this is in another area, not Fountain Pen. They are frugal people. And trying to think of, never mind. I can't think of the channel name right now, but I'll probably be able to link it. Anyway, I got the idea that I should do that too. I should see how dependent am I, and am I okay, you know? Well, anyway. So especially with a trip coming up, it's a lot different when you're going to be traveling on your own, renting a car, doing all my own driving, which I don't usually do, hardly any. I've made myself lately just to get back in the habit of getting in the truck and driving, and Manuel's encouraged that. So I realized, you know, I don't like this. I don't like it. So I started tapering off the second cup of coffee. And just to be clear, I was mixing it already because I kind of had an idea this isn't so great for me. I'm very sensitive to caffeine. I was mixing a tablespoon of decaf and a tablespoon of regular coffee, and having that twice a day. And I didn't ever used to do that. It was just a morning coffee. And I've been feeling crappy. So after reading her book and then running across a few videos, which always happens, then I ran across a book called Caffeine Blues by Cherniske. And in addition to not buying pens, I'm not buying books. So that was a dilemma, right? I had to watch videos, try to glean what he was teaching in his book. And then I found that I could get it on archive.org to read for free. You just keep renewing. It expires in an hour, but it's an ebook that you could put onto your, I put it on my PC and then I just read it, and it expires. Your checkout of the book expires, and you can keep renewing. Well, it started to connect with another problem I'm having, which is I've had not a full relapse, but I've gained about 20 pounds during the pandemic, and I had been down too far. I had weighed around 117, 116, which was not enough. I mean, clearly I had gotten too thin. And so I was happy right around 125, but I kept gaining weight. So, you know, now I'm right around 135, and I wasn't able, with the same fasting, with a 20-hour and, clearly 20-hour consistent fast every single day, and either an OMAD, a one meal a day, or, you know, a snack and a meal, I'm no longer able to maintain 125, which the number on the scale doesn't mean anything. I see it going in the wrong direction. And it doesn't, the number I see on the scale at this point doesn't alarm me. It's less than what I weighed when I came out of basic training when I was, 20 years old. So it's not the weight now, it's the health. It's like, wait a minute, Chris, too much belly fat. This isn't right, So then I learned in that Caffeine Blues that something about cortisol, that probably I was elevating my cortisol by doing this caffeine. And certainly I've been irritable and more anxious, and my sleep is always not great. I have cats jumping on me in the night and things like that, but I can't blame it all on them, because winding down and reading and trying to sleep has been harder. So anyway, after taping off that second one, I thought about trying to do tea instead of coffee because it has less caffeine. And then I said, time is ticking. The trip is coming up. I'm going to be flying and driving, and it's all going to be me trying to, make this thing happen. And I don't want to be a frazzled up mess, especially if I happen to get stuck somewhere. I don't want to be one of those crazy travelers. I would never be, but I could be very, not the way I want to be. Let's put it that way. So I feel better. This is day 5, and I feel so much better. And I have the confidence of doing this last year, knowing, that it just took me through day 3 and then day 4, and this is day 5. I had some lower body aches, leg aches, and everything else. I didn't actually get a headache. I tried to get a headache, Like I could feel it sort of almost coming on, but I didn't even, I had to take Tylenol just one time. And that was day 3. It was like my legs just wouldn't stop hurting no matter what I did. And they, you know, that helped. And then day 4 and today, nothing. So I'm feeling better. And that's a lot of information, but I'll tell you why I'm sharing it. Somebody else may need it, or they may do like me and kind of explore here and there, watch a few videos, and then get some insight and awareness. You never know. It might be just one person, and that's okay. I'd like to share my experience because of that. So it's been 4 years since I traveled, and I was so nervous about it that I didn't think I was going to make it happen, but I've purchased the ticket, and I haven't told my mom because at first it was because I didn't have confidence in myself, for sure. And then it was like, well, it's probably better because of things that can happen out of my control. They could either delay or she could be worried. And, you know, so far I haven't said anything because I think it would be kind of cool and unprecedented, actually, if I were to be able to, you know, call her from the motel and say, "Hi, Mom, I happen to be here, you know. Would you like me to come over and visit you?" You know, so actually believing in it more and seeing it come closer. But I'm not going to lie, I'm nervous. I try not to watch news, but no matter what, it still comes, it filters in to me, even just on my way to my email. I see things, but I don't see how I'm safer in the mean streets of Corpus Christi than I will be, you know, going through airports and then eventually being up in my home state where I just naturally feel a little bit safer anyway. I mean, there's fewer people and less traffic and all of that. So I wanted to say before I go, let's see, oh, gee, I didn't get anywhere near as chatty as I thought I would. I was going to show you what I'm taking for notebook and pen case, because I don't really know for absolute sure what's going to go in my pen case. I know what I have in it right now, but my mind is probably going to change. So I have this little, it's a Boeing pen case that my pen friend Casey gave me some time ago, and it is the perfect size. Like normally they'll be like this much more, you know, but it's just the perfect size and you can stuff it. And well, right now I might as well show you since I haven't talked the full 30 minutes anyway. It zips at the top and it's just delightful. I've got a pencil that's a G2, and then I've got my favorite, let's see, this, don't even know what it's called. Uni Jetstream ballpoint that's got a really nice fine, I guess it's a 0.5. So it goes really nice in the Hobonichi. And I can't get the pencil refilled, otherwise I wouldn't have to take this other pencil. And then I wanted a little color, and I'm not sure whether I'm taking fountain pens. That's the other part. So I just dug around and dug out, like I've got the turquoise colored G2, and then 2 of the friction clicker. 1 in pink, and then 1 in purple. And then I don't know what this is about. Honestly, this is a really nice writing purple fine line ballpoint from Moonrise Crystals. I stuck that in there. Like, I can't help myself, I guess. And this is a Sarsa Dry 0.4. This is cool because you can highlight over it. And I don't have a single highlighter in here. I'll have to find a mild liner, I guess. And then I got this little, in case this wasn't enough. This is why I can't do the fountain pens, because it would be never ending. I remember last time, 4 years ago, I pulled out everything and I took 3 pens and a bunch of cartridges and some vials of ink, and still it was like, I don't know. And then this is a uni pin, really nice felt tip, really fine. This is new to me. And whoops, might as well put it over my face. You can see how thin it is. It's really nice. Anyway, like I said, I need a mild liner. And then, And this is, like I said, whatever fits in here gets to go. So if I completely change it and decide to take fountain pens, that's fine. But it has to fit in there. Then I'm taking my Galen leather Hobonichi cover. There's a story behind this. I had this for a long time, and I almost gave up on it because generally speaking, I don't need to have my Hobonichi in a cover. And then I watched this Alaska Daily series, and Hillary, or I can't remember what her character name was. Anyway, she carried one of these, and she carried it everywhere, and she had a reporter notebook in it, and her pen and everything, and all her, like, she used one side as a wallet, and she had her pen, and I was like, oh, I have one of those. That's cool, you know. And she put it down everywhere and carried it, threw it in her car, and I'm pretty sure by looking at it, it looked exactly like this. It's, you know, I didn't see the Galen leather emblem, but I would bet $100 to somebody that that's what it was. So I've got my blue aqua Hobonichi in there, and then back behind there I put one of the little notebooks that a pen friend sent me. So because I thought, well, I may run out of paper. This is just a regular Hobonichi. I've only used like 3 or 4 pages back in the clear pages where I was just doodling, and I got a tab there. I've got quite a few pages to write every day if I want, and I can keep track my dates and everything. And then I'll load it more. I have my ID up here so it doesn't show, but I can put it here. I kind of like to have a wallet with an ID and a secondary ID in case something goes wrong, and it's just a little paranoia of mine. But in the front of the Hobonichi, I put some little stickers and things like that, and I plan to put in a washi tape little card. I've got quite a few of those. It could get really fat. I had trouble with which pen. This is just a Bic 4-color. It's one that really fit well and gave me the most, like if I'm just with this, if I don't even want to drag out the pencil case, if I just want to, you know, bring this up when everybody's watching TV and doing their whatever. I was going to say homework, but computing, and if I have moments to journal, then this would be everything in here to work with. So it's a departure from my usual. I usually take my full-size bullet journal and lots and lots of pens and stuff, and this is quite a bit actually. Good heavens. But it's almost like a little security blanket. I gotta have more pens, you know. If I take a pen, it'll be a Lamy. It'll be a Lamy Vista or Safari, I think, because then I can have a cartridge with I've got turquoise and purple cartridges. So I wanted to make sure I had definitely covered black ink and a few different colors just in case. I don't intend to spend a whole lot of time journaling. This will be a shorter trip this time because of leaving Manuel, you know, completely to completely do everything with the animals himself, and after how he's been feeling, it's like just cross our fingers that everything goes well. And there are lots of appointments and things here before and right after I get back. So this is just, but you know, in the past when I've traveled, you know, the first few days you pretty much see everyone, or you try, and so staying like a full 2 weeks or 3 weeks isn't necessarily more. You know, more is not always more. And so I'm just very hopeful that that things go well so I can get up there. If I get delayed, I would prefer, my order to the universe would be, let's make it on the way back then, because, you know, then it's just not taking away from the time that I have with my family. I'm even nervous about seeing my mom after 4 years, because she's 81 and it's been 4 years in May anyway, you know, next month, which is tomorrow. So it's quite a thing. And that's where I'm at. That's a personal update. I'm happy that I'm addressing the caffeine problem at all. I don't think I would have if I hadn't read Dopamine Nation, and then I've read Scattered Like a Squirrel. I've read the Caffeine Blues I'm not purchasing anything like books right now, but it's on Amazon. It's still in print. It's an older book. I think it's 1998 or something. There may be newer studies, but he does make a point about how studies can be, funded and endorsed by the companies that make the products that they want to sell to us. So we have to be discerning. And there was so much of a wave of truth in what I was reading, for me anyway, because I know that I'm super sensitive to caffeine. I know I use it for mood. It's not energy that I'm looking for. It's mood. And there's no real shortcuts, I think, to mood. I really don't think there are shortcuts. I think that a lot of times we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, depending on where you're at. No, I'm not saying that medication is not for many people and could even be for me one day. I don't know. But I wouldn't know. I won't know if this anxiety and sort of irritability and stuff is going to persist caffeine free. But that information is important. That helps me know, Okay, so I eliminated that. But I actually believe that more than 30 days is needed, because 30 days last year, I felt good, and yet I still went right back to it in a very limited sort of way. And for a long time, that doctored up half caffeinated cup was enough, and then it wasn't. And instead of, going through her little thing of really thinking it through, getting insight and making a plan, I just added some more, I think it's human nature, I guess. It's human nature until our, what is it? Problems, P for problems, until our unintended consequences hit us in the face, right? So anyway, I think that's enough of a ramble now, but I will make little posts, it's just that I won't be doing videos until I get back and I'm here again and hitting it again for June. Chris's inked pens in June, and taking that Faber-Castell grip and giving it a good review. I'll probably get started on it before I leave, but I fill in those little report cards and write with the pens. I may even leave it for the time I'm gone to see how it is when I come back and stuff like that. It's not ever that I completely drop the hobby. No way. But I thought I'd better tell you that I plan to be away for a while. And, there's going to be this big, Hemingway Jones is going to have Tom from Ink Journal on. And I think I figured out that where I'll be, I think I'll actually be able to watch that. Yeah. I mean, have Wi-Fi and be able to watch it. But if not, thank goodness for replays, right? Because I'm really excited about that one that he's going to do, and have been about many. So, okay, that's it. I will talk to you later. Bye for now.